One. And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Local Hack Week Season 2. This is Day 5. And today we have with us Godwin Afwana, all the way from Uganda. He is a GitHub campus expert. He is also the ambassador of Zindi, also a member of AWS Student Builder Community and future ambassador. We're happy to have you, Godwin Afwana.
All right. Thank you, Soulmate. I am really super much excited to be part of this amazing event today. And I'm
Uh-huh.
really excited about being in this event and getting to really my topic. I am really so amazing. And thank you for that amazing introduction. It's really an amazing one. And thank you so much. Yes. And I'm super glad to be here. Yes.
Yes, Afwana. Thank you for joining us today, all the way from Uganda.
Oh, yeah.
So
From
today,
the Pearl of
uh-huh,
Africa.
I'm pretty sure that's a good place.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Uh-huh. So, Afwano, what do you want to talk today about to all our audience who's watching the stream?
Okay, today I really want to be talking about an amazing topic, something that I very much value so much. I personally, for one, I didn't think one day I would be in the tech field or I would be in the tech ecosystem, the ecosystem of technology. I
Mm-hmm.
believed back in the day that I wanted to be a traditional engineer, something like a civil engineer, that I needed to do traditional engineering. And here I am doing tech. And I am going to be talking about something that I hold so much in high regard, which is tech communities, because it is from tech
Uh-huh.
communities that I got a sense of belonging. I got an
Uh-huh.
identity and I got to start realizing myself and what I could
Mm-hmm.
actually get to become. All this came
Mm-hmm.
from the communities that I was involved in. Yes, so mainly that is going to be my talk today. I love community. I tell people I'm a community boy because I have got from community and I will always want to give back to community. Thank you for having me,
Yeah,
Soulmate.
thank you, Afwano. So, before we'd like to, however, we just begin with all the communities that you're part of.
Oh, okay.
That's a
This
good
is
place to start.
all
Uh-huh.
right, that's a good place to start with. So
Uh-huh.
I am going to start again by introducing myself afresh. My name is
Mm-hmm.
Gordon Ofono, and I am a software engineering student at a university called Uganda Technology and Management University, here based in Uganda. On my
Mm-hmm.
campus, the story starts in an amazing way. I started a tech community on my campus with a core team, and the tech community is called Utamo Innovation Club. You could get to check out on what we have actually achieved and accomplished, I think, on LinkedIn. Yes, Utamo
Uh-huh.
Innovation Club is what I lead in. So that is the first community that I got involved in. So I have an amazing story about communities. I joined the university. I had not planned to do a technology course or get into the tech ecosystem. And then I get there and the
Mm-hmm.
university gives me the course and I get to do the course. I remember the first day I literally did not know how to use a computer. And that is very much common, most especially in the context of where I come from. We were not exposed to computers, so you would never try out on
Mm-hmm.
computers. The first
Yes, I
computer that
know.
I got to own was when I was getting into the university. Back when I was in high school, I used to try doing something small in computer. So after I finished high school, I took a vacation period, and here in
Mm-hmm.
Uganda, we take a gap of like about 8 months waiting to join the university. So totally all the knowledge I had in computer had actually totally gone. So when I joined the
Uh-huh.
university, my parents were able to get me a laptop. I hold that laptop with very much high regard. It has lots of GitHub stickers all over it.
Uh-huh.
This was my very first laptop. It was an HP ProBook. Yeah, it was pretty
Whoa.
much helping me at the time, and I love this laptop. So when I go to Beta Machine, I actually got to give it to my sister, who's now using it like lots of time, trying out something, and she uses Linux, by the way, as well. So I
Ooh.
that's how I joined. So I joined the university, and I was totally confused.
Mhm.
I was hearing about programming, I was hearing about complex topics that I could not actually get to decode. So, what helped me is there was a friend, he was a final year student while I was in freshman year, and he
Uh-huh.
told me about communities. And I was like, okay,
Ooh.
fine. If communities exist, how can I get involved in community? And then he added me to a WhatsApp group of a community called Python Kampala. Kampala is the capital city of Uganda, and it's where most of
Uh-huh.
the tech communities actually are based in. So I
Ooh.
joined Python Kampala and the WhatsApp group, and then I was given a ticket to attend PyCon Uganda, which is the Python conference for Uganda. And that was the first
Mhm.
community event that I got involved in. And then I went to the event. Oh man, the food was totally free. I ate a lot of food.
Mhm.
And then I was given a free
Uh-huh.
shot, like a free swag. And I was like, man, I am going to
Ooh.
stay in these communities because I got back to campus and my friends were seeing me wearing a shirt having Python Software Foundation. I was looking like the hacker in the middle of my friends. So after
Mm.
that, I thought about it. My university did not have a community. So we sat down with a team of friends and we said, yes, could we start a community? And I'm going to lead, and maybe someday we'll get actually funders to help and try raise the community. And so after that, I
Mhm.
started that community, and then I got into Zindi. Zindi is the largest AI and data science community in Africa. So we focus on solving African problems with artificial intelligence. So I am a Zindi ambassador for Uganda, and I applied. And what
Uh-huh.
helped me is because I was already working with a local tech community on my campus. Okay. After Zindi, I go to apply for after Zindi, I go to apply for a community called Aspire, and I did an Aspire Leaders program, and I focused on the domain of leadership in technology. And so in that, I am currently the Aspire community lead for Uganda, most especially on the domain of technology. So after Aspire, I
Mhm.
said yes. Now I had Zindi, I had Aspire, I had my community. I used to apply to volunteer to community events within Kampala to be a volunteer and an organizer at an event, and those would come seasonal and then they get to go on. And then GitHub opened in, and I had longed to be a GitHub campus expert for really a very long, amazing time. So when GitHub came in, I go to
Uh-huh.
apply for GitHub. I talked about my community, how I am participating in my local tech community, how I'm trying to bridge the gap between the students in my community and the global opportunities. And so after that, I applied to GitHub. Glory to God. I went through the first stage, then went through the second stage, and I am a GitHub campus expert. I planted the third ever flag, the third GitHub campus expert flag in Uganda, and the 23rd GitHub campus expert flag in Africa. So it's quite an amazing thing, I could say. And after GitHub, I go to apply to Futurize. So Futurize is based in London, UK, and they focus on students' innovative solutions. So they focus on trying to see that can students who are innovating solutions, can we try to
Um.
bring the solutions to real life? Okay. So
Uh-huh.
that's what we in Futurize. So I am a Futurize ambassador and its assistant ambassador for Uganda. Then I go to apply to Amazon Web Services as a cloud captain, which is currently
Mhm.
a program called the AWS Student Builder Group. Okay, so I'm a student builder group leader. I go to apply. I talk about my local tech community, and they see through my channels, my media, my X account, my mainly my LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my thing. I've talked a lot to people about what I get to do on LinkedIn. So when they get to see what I've worked on LinkedIn, and yes,
Mhm.
yeah, by the grace of God, I again went through as an AWS student builder group leader. And yes, and other many more communities, which are small communities. I also participated in the WordPress community because I brought the WordPress community to my university. Then I also brought a
Uh-huh.
community called Indaba. And a point reached that leading these communities, it was kind of overwhelming. So I had to give it to, juniors who were coming in, freshmen who were getting into campus. And yes, I have brought quite multiple communities to my university. I explored a little bit of blockchain because I won the blockchain hackathon in Uganda last year. But I didn't
Ooh.
really go so deep in blockchain, but at least I also brought blockchain to my university. So, and I participate in other communities, the Google developer groups on my campus. and other Google Developer Cloud groups within Kampala and within Uganda. Yes, so that's how I have been in community. Yes.
Oh my god. Those are so many communities that I can even count on
Oh
my
yes,
fingers.
I do.
I
True,
know,
true,
right?
definitely. True, true.
I mean, to even think about something like that, being a part of so many communities, I
It
wonder,
is.
I mean, do you not even mix up the kind of things that you do at one community? Let's just say you were supposed to do one thing here and then you did something over there. You know, ever happen something like that?
Yes, I could say, but
Mm-hmm.
the good thing about these communities is they all work on something that is related. So take an example like GitHub. GitHub is going to work,
Uh-huh.
of course, on AWS because sometimes they're going to build systems and then we get to put them to GitHub, and then it's from GitHub that if you've used the AWS Lambda, that you get to execute the code from GitHub. Same thing with Zindi. We are going to build AI solutions, machine learning models. You push them to GitHub. So it's
Uh-huh.
literally, so the communities connect. At some point, you need to kind of switch. It's kind of a hard thing at some point too. And I think mainly what helped me is I was trying to explore everything. I was like, I need to explore everything. I need to find a place
Uh-huh.
and get find my niche. And I got to at some point actually get to know really where my niche is and where I really want to put my focus much into, which is mainly into cloud architecture, which is cloud computing, and then machine learning, which is artificial intelligence, and a little bit of software. Okay, I do software development as well. Yes. So that's how it really is, but it's amazing. It's amazing.
Uh-huh. Oh my god. That is like so many things that you do. I wonder how could you even compute and try to do so many things at a time. I mean, what do you think, as being a part of, so many communities, what do you think the hardest part is?
The hardest part of communities is really
Uh-huh.
one thing that has again helped me a lot deal with communities is community is not an isolation thing. You work with a group of people. When I'm hosting
Mm-hmm.
GitHub events, when I'm hosting AWS events, when I'm hosting Zindi events, I work
Mm-hmm.
with the team. I work with the core team normally each and every time. And most of the times you're trying to do this, there's someone running the socials, there's someone running the technical, trying to see that everything technical in the event is really running on well. And so really working with the core team has really been an amazing thing. I think the hardest challenge of first with community events and communities is sometimes they get to be overwhelming, okay? And when they get to
Mm-hmm.
be so overwhelming at a certain point, you sometimes think of, okay, could I give it maybe a break? Because at times it's overwhelming because remember you have school to do. I also
Mm-hmm.
do I part time at a place. I have a place where I get to work to part time sometimes, and then there is school, and then there is community. So what really helps
Mm-hmm.
is you get to structure when the semester is beginning at the beginning of the month, you get to structure out how am I going to have these events running in. And we as students, sometimes we have the energy, so we are kind of a little bit flexible, but at a point where you feel it's too much, it's always good to take a break and then you work with the core team. So I think that has been really the hardest challenge with community. It's when the too many
Mm-hmm.
point that it gets overwhelming a little bit most.
Overwhelming. I know, right? I get you.
And
Mm-hmm.
organizing events is really, really stressing. That's why I try as much as possible always to work with core teams that really help support and enable the event actually run well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Afono, I have a question for you. I've been wanting to ask you this.
Oh,
Since you're
yes.
part of so many communities, what kind of people do you meet there? I mean, let's just say you're part of so many communities. I forgot the count how many there were. I mean, are the people from each community different? Or do you think all people in these tech communities come under the same umbrella?
Okay, okay. That's actually an amazing question. And people get to ask me that a lot. So, being part of this community, like Zindi, I'm going to talk about Zindi in particular. And just as
Mm-hmm.
I said, Zindi is the largest AI data science and machine learning um, community here in Africa, and we focus on solving African problems with artificial intelligence. So Zindi is a platform that you get to simply sign up, and then you get a Zindian badge, and then you can begin to
Mm-hmm.
participate in the hacking competitions. What really makes Zindi so seamless and amazing is that inside Zindi as a platform, we have courses from our partners like IBM, we have courses from Google that when
Oh.
someone is totally new and mainly freshmen, when you get into this and you're interested about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, we have lots of courses on let me say the beginner track, the intermediate track, and the advanced track, depending on the track that you want and which particular skill you want to get. Is it ethical AI? Is it building models? Is it optimizing models? We have those courses inside. They are paid for by our partners. So people who actually have the Zindian badge get to access them freely. So when I'm having like a Zindi event, you get to such a community. You know, I am entirely going to meet people who are interested in data science, machine learning, and artificial
Mm-hmm.
intelligence. I have an interest in AI and machine learning. So there I get to be there and then we get to talk about AI, machine learning, training models, building models. So people inside that community are normally inside the same umbrella. And there is something I normally tell people that this is tech, and where we are getting to, tech is beginning to work. As you can see right now, we are seeing artificial intelligence in blockchain. We are seeing artificial intelligence in almost every kind of technology. So people normally, I have had events where blockchain people come into the event, Zindi event, and then they get to say, okay, fine, I this, how can I get this evolved? And before you know it, they have spotted out a course on Zindi that would actually help them to try to solve a problem on what they're trying to build on their blockchains. Yes. So I think that's what I would say about the communities. So most of these people come in the same umbrella. And I forgot to say, some people get to community events just to have fun and to feel challenged. Okay. I, for
Uh-huh.
one, I forgot to say, my fun fact is I really love food so much. Okay. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things that brought to community events was food. The food was free, the food was nice. So I kept getting there. But you see, as you keep having this food, you keep enjoying this food, there is something that sticks in. You feel challenged, you note down something. I knew about GitHub from a community event. I used to think I just
Mm-hmm.
needed to do a little bit of programming, HTML, CSS, and then that was it all. But then I realized when I went to a community event that, okay, how do people get to work remotely? Then I realized for people to work remotely, you need to have a tool like GitHub. And I learned that from a community
Exactly.
about
Mm-hmm.
open source community. Before I started contributing to open source projects, it's community that I had people talking about open source yet. My main aim of going to the event was to eat food, but I ended up getting to learn about open source and getting to learn about GitHub and getting to learn about version control. So when I went back home, it kept moving in my head. I was challenged. I need to know about this. And yeah, so I would say that the umbrella, it's normally everyone gets in there. Sometimes people come with different intentions, but by the time they're leaving, they come with different expectations. But by the time they're leaving, at least 70% of the people go at least with one common expectation. Like they go with one achievement that they really appreciate it. Yes.
Uh-huh. You said that you've been wanting to be a part of the events for food, right? So how
Oh,
has your journey
yes.
been from going to food to becoming a campus expert? How has your journey been?
Okay.
Now that
The
is
day
something
that
not
I
everybody gets to happen and experience, you know. I mean, you
yes,
get a lot
it's
of people to an event to have some food, but then turning them into, I mean, becoming a campus expert is not something that everybody can do, right? So how has your journey
all
been?
right.
Mm-hmm.
My journey has been, I could say it has really been an amazing one because, first of
Mm-hmm.
all, getting to join GitHub the day I actually got a message congratulating me on joining the Campus Exports program, I was super, super excited. I was
Excited. I
super
know that.
excited
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, okay, fine, this is me. So initially, this is me who was going to community events to eat food, okay, and to get free swag, which was free shirts, okay, and to get
Mm-hmm.
stickers. Get by the you can see even on my fridge, I have lots of stickers
Oh yeah.
from GitHub
Uh-huh.
and other communities. So that was my first intention. And over the time, as the journey kept going on, I was attending events outside my university. My university is a private university in Uganda and it was not really that much very popular and known. And so it is still a growing university. So we didn't have these things. So I go to these events and then I go to an event at another university. And then I say,
Mhm.
what if I started having these sessions at my university? And we used to just have sessions, we would just sit and then we talk, just meet, and then we get to talk about those things online on LinkedIn. We started up a LinkedIn page for my university, for my community, which is Utamo Innovation Club. And so that is how we started getting exposure. People started to know the university. People started to know because even currently I have a job that I'm actually to work on that I got it because
Uh-huh.
of my ability on LinkedIn. Someone liked it and they
Mhm.
said, immediately finish your papers. We want you to join us. We want you to sign a contract and we get to work on this because we love what you are doing. So it started all the
Uh-huh.
way in such a simple community, volunteering
Mhm.
at events, organizing events, because sometimes I used to get to organize an event and you do not even have the time to sit down and get to learn from what the speakers are sharing because I was trying to create a space where others would get to learn, others would get to benefit, okay? But I didn't know it could actually get to pay off. So after participating in organizing and volunteering at big events within the capital city and other universities, I decided to bring the community, the same spirit to my university. So we started that
Uh-huh.
community and that's how we started building. So the journey has been an amazing and interesting one. But I
That
would
was an
say
incredible
all
one.
that because we started the
Mhm.
community last year in about February. So the community is about a year and roughly a year and
A
a
year
half.
old. Uh-huh.
It's not so
Mhm.
old, but it grew so
Mhm.
fast. So social media really hit the visibility so high because that is excuse me, because that is it. You are going to you're going to work on something, but if you do not
Mhm.
let people outside there know it, it's going to be hard. Also, the other thing that really helped me as a person was I got to realize that for you to there is a for you you cannot get to govern a technology that you've actually only been briefed on, okay? So for me to be able to start understanding or playing around with these technologies, I must have
Uh-huh.
understood exactly. Hello, can you get me still? Yes,
Uh-huh.
so I was
Uh-huh. I'm
saying,
receiving. Huh?
yes, so I was saying, there's something I normally tell people that you cannot govern a technology that you've just been briefed on. You must have tried it out, you must have tested it out, check where it breaks, where it does not break, what the technology can do, what it cannot do. So really getting myself as well hands on because I'm going to run a community, I'm going to host an event. What am I going to share with people? At least I need to be knowing the foundational basics of that particular thing. Yes, so the journey has been so amazing, right from getting food to organizing events to volunteering at events, and then now starting. Oh, I missed out the state. Then I started speaking at events, okay?
Uh-huh.
I started getting invitations. I remember the first event that I spoke at outside my university was CASA. I think you know CASA, the AI code
Uh-huh. I've
agent.
heard of it. Uh-huh. I've heard of it. Mhm.
Yes. So I spoke at a CASA event and I was really so sweating because it was my first time speaking to many
The
people.
first
I was
time
sweating
it hits a nerve. I
so
get it.
easy on stage, okay? Now
Mhm.
that's something I've also learned from community, my public speaking skills and then my confidence that I've really grown. So after that I started speaking
Mhm.
at events and then I started applying. And right now I'm a GitHub campus expert. I run events by GitHub. I think when you check
Mhm.
my flag on the campus expert flag, you'll really see I have lots of multiple events that are really running in GitHub. And GitHub supports any event. Is it Zindi? Is it AWS? It gets support because they know in the end of the day, you are going to have that code pushed to GitHub. So GitHub has to always be in the loop. GitHub and then Git as a version control tool. Yes. So that has been the journey from food to being a campus expert. Food, volunteering, organizing, speaking, and then now a campus expert.
Uh-huh.
And I continue to volunteer because I want to continuously create a space, an inclusive space for others to.
Mhm.
And I try as much as possible to help others get these opportunities faster than I actually did. Yes.
Uh, okay, Alfano, we have a question from our audience. How do you keep community members active outside of event times? I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you do
Okay.
not host events in your communities all the time. You have it once in a while. So, how is it that you keep your community active and alive?
How? Wow, wow, wow. So that is actually amazing. It's
Mm-hmm.
hope I get the question well. How I get to keep my communities active and alive.
Active,
All
as in
right.
just in case they don't move out of community or stop being a part of it or something like
All
that.
right. All right. So I think I'll start with our communities, and I've mainly dealt with student communities. Dealing with student communities, one of the most amazing thing about student communities is promising them prizes at events. That's one. When you're going to tell people we're going to have food at the event. I don't know how it is in India, but here in Uganda, once you say there's going to be food, everyone is not going to miss
Mm-hmm.
the event. They are going to be there. When you say there's going to be swag, they are going to be there. When you say we are going to have some free credits for Copilot, we are going to have free credits for you to build an AI, they are definitely going to be there. So,
Uh-huh.
how I keep my community really live, I am going to go to the context of particularly my community on my campus because I've gotten to organize many events at multiple communities. Even last week, I was in a different city. I think next
Mm-hmm.
week, but one, I'm supposed to be in a different city again. So, particularly for my community, I have structured a way that in every month we need to have like two physical events where students get to contribute, and then so mainly we take a gap of 1 week. We have a meeting this week, next week we won, the other week we actually have an event. So in a month we have about two events. So in those events we come up with small challenges, okay? I keep the community really engaged because you realize tech is not really, when you make things technical, people get bored and they don't really enjoy the community. I try as
Uh-huh.
much as possible to make the technical things look untechnical. I have students who are doing business and they get to play around with GitHub, but because I go to tell them that GitHub is not something for only developers, but I got to explain to them GitHub in a way that it was not technical at all. So how I keep these communities alive is I keep having these events, okay? I keep checking in, I keep bringing in opportunities to the community. Most of the times, like recently, there was the Build with Gamer hackathon that happened, and there were prizes that were being given for communities to host. We bring those to community. Every end of semester, I make sure we have a hackathon sponsored by GitHub. I keep looking for sponsors. And one thing I realized, there are very many technologies outside there. There are blockchain communities outside there. There are many people who want to share knowledge with students. And the
Mm-hmm.
only way they could get to share knowledge with students is through the community. So when you get to tell students we're going to have this event in this community, you get to tell them about the
Uh-huh.
benefit of what is that actually going to participate in. Then I normally really so much get to have them have hackathons, so the community keeps going live and all that. And just as I said in one of my points is I do not work alone. I really work with a lot of people because we keep trying to so I give students, most especially students in freshman year, they are really excited
Uh-huh.
about volunteering in events. They really love to wear the tag of the organizer at the event. They
I
post
know,
it on
right?
LinkedIn,
Uh-huh.
all that. So much. I was
Uh-huh.
actually as well there. So those are things that I keep them engaged. So you keep just the small things that you keep doing enables them to settle in, and then so that by the time you're starting to share knowledge with them, giving them opportunities to share knowledge as well. So the main key things about keeping communities alive is consider your community, get to be patient with them, get to know that everyone takes a step to actually get to learn these things. Sometimes things are technical, but you give them time, then expose them to
Uh-huh.
opportunities. Once in a while, tell them to move out to other hackathons in other universities, participate in
Mm-hmm.
other other community events, then give them speaking slots even while in the community because you need to see people grow so that by the time they live in the community, they really appreciate. So that is one thing that has kept the
Uh-huh.
community alive. Yes, having constant events and
Mm-hmm.
exposing the people in the community to opportunities. Yes.
Okay, now that is one way to keep your people active in your community. Okay, so
Yes.
we have another question of one. Oh, we have another question. This is an interesting one, to be honest. How can one create value in a community if they're not highly skilled yet?
How can one create a value in community when they're not
If
skilled
they're
yet?
not highly skilled
Okay,
yet.
all right, all right. So, that's actually an amazing question. I think I would give a little bit of rounds of applauses for that. But what I could say is you can create value in community when you are not skilled enough, okay? When I started the tech community on my campus, I was in my third. I was in. I think in my second year, my third year in the university, the second year in the university. But there were students who were in the fourth year in the university. But when I
Uh-huh.
started to run events, they got to start listening to me. I was literally a junior to them, but they got to actually start listening to me. I was not skilled like them even actually by then, but they got to listen to me. So one thing about contributing to community, you do not need to contribute. You do not need to be technical to contribute to a community event. You can create value by just being an organizer at an event, being a volunteer at an event, because that is contribution. Because literally, when we see technology, even when you to see how software companies operate, not everyone in the company is a developer. Okay, there is someone who's going to run the media. There is someone who's going to be in charge of the content creation. There is someone who's going to be in charge of designs. Yet then there is
Uh-huh.
someone who's a software engineer working on something. So you can create value in the community without being skilled. By volunteering at that event, organizing that event, you could be a good session host in the event, okay? So you can actually contribute in multiple ways because most of the times you do not actually need that skill. I know that question came from like you need to be technically skilled, and it's something I
Yeah.
normally tell people. Sometimes I tell people I'm a GitHub campus expert, and they tell me, "Man, I think you had the whole year cramming GitHub." But honestly, when I was getting into GitHub, I did not really know a lot about GitHub. I did not know a
Mm-hmm.
little bit about GitHub. So the main focus of community is, are you willing to share knowledge with others? Are you willing to create a space for others to learn? Okay. So later there is even a job called a software or a developer advocate. A developer advocate is not actually a coder. They just simply try to create an environment that you can actually get to contribute in, feel inclusive, feel safe, and then build to the company or the community. So you do not really need to be skilled. Yes, you do not really need to be skilled. The skill comes in later, but it's not really the big thing. It's just you having the unwavering passion for others to learn. So that is just a big contribution. I mentioned it. I started contributing to community by showing up is actually contributing to a community. Yes. And then volunteering and organizing an event. Yes, not actually most of the developers are not good organizers of events. I won't really say that bad, but most of them are not really good at organizing events like yes.
Mm-hmm. We have another question from the chat. Mistakes students
All
make
right.
while leading communities. How to overcome them? Okay, now that's a good question. Do you really think we can make mistakes while leading such communities? I mean, we
Oh
can.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. True, true. And vastly most of the times students it is something that we keep learning, and even me up to now most of the times are after every event I keep telling students, and I'm like I keep sharing with people I've spoken at to or at an event I've organized. I keep telling them, friends, in case anything did not go well to your expectations, we really greatly apologize, okay? And at the end of every event, I normally create a feedback form because I want to hear the feedback. And I try to, as much as possible, keep it anonymous so that people can give in feedback,
Honest and
constructive.
genuine feedbacks. Uh-huh.
Yes, the feedbacks on how we could actually make an event better. And that happens. The mistakes that we normally make when we're leading communities is sometimes we get to assume people have the same skill as we do. And we have had this challenge with students who have just joined in freshman year, and they get to a community event, and then you're speaking technical jargons, and they are not understanding anything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes another mistake we make in community is supposed to be so open for everyone to contribute. Sometimes so that's really something big that we really make is sometimes we do not actually get to consider. Sometime I was organizing an event and I used to ignore certain things. There's a student in my community, he has a disability. He does not actually get to listen so well, okay? And I
Uh-huh.
used to organize events. I used to say, this is not, it's really so minor. And in one of the feedback sessions, so that's why feedback is really okay. Every time you lead a community, once in a while, share a feedback form, let the community members give you feedback on what you could actually better up in. And I remember he complained and he said, I think I am not valued in this community. I'm not included in this community because if you know that I do not actually, I have an impairing issue with my ears. I cannot hear. Why
Uh-huh.
don't you work on slides before? Or why don't you have a subtitled kind of thing for me to feel included? I felt so bad. Then another student said, you mean you're going to host an event, you're going to choose a hall that is way so far to reach. You know very well, I am lame, I cannot walk well, I need a place that I can easily access. And so sometimes I get to miss the event because you have actually scheduled it at a far place. And so that's when I learned about something called inclusivity. So I keep trying on that each and every time to try to make really an environment that is inclusive for everyone. So the mistake that most of the student leaders, tech community leaders actually get to make, I have also made those, okay, is not including everyone. You plan not including the Yawan student, someone who's totally new to community, and that is really a
Mm-hmm.
big challenge that people really normally make. And sometimes we get to another mistake that leaders, actually student leaders, get to make is trying to do everything on your own, okay? It actually sounds
Uh-huh.
cool. You have everything. You can manage the logistics, you can manage the branding and everything. But in the end of the day, it is going to stress you. And tomorrow, when you're leaving the university or leaving the community, you do not have anyone that you have mentored to carry on with the community. So it is really a challenge that students really face, leaders really face. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, that is something that our leaders should take care of. Someone who's leading a community, because everybody in the
Yes.
community matters, and we should look onto
Yes, yes.
them.
True, true.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in community really matters.
Matters. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few questions that our audience are asking us. Okay, so one question is, would all this stuff have an impact if I add them to my resume? I mean, it
Would
definitely does. Being a part of community is not just about, going there and building some projects. It's about building real connections. It's about learning to build these kind of things with people, working with them. And I believe these things are something that can actually add impact to someone, not just in a resume, but also their personality and, in their social life. What do you think about this?
I think Soulmate has really answered it really perfectly so well. So being part of community is a big is a big resume because I do not
Mm-hmm.
have really my transcript from the university right now, but I am working at
Mm-hmm.
a place and my resume was being part of community. I forgot to really talk about. So I think I can jump in and talk about the benefits of community. Is that okay, Soulmate?
Yes, yes, yes. That's not a problem. You can carry on.
Okay, just a minute. Oh God.
Is there a problem? Okay,
No, I
I think
forgot, and I think
something's okay.
I'd put
Okay.
my computer in
Okay.
sleep mode.
Uh huh. Uh-huh. That's okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
now that brings me, I think, to really talk about really why really community matters, because that brings us to another topic, okay? Because where these questions are really rising from. One, first of all, community matters a lot because one, you get to learn things faster, okay? Take an example like trending technologies that are running, okay? I know we have all heard about the GitHub Copilot Dev Days that was running previously, and I think they have opened them again for people to run GitHub Copilot Dev Days. So if you are a
Uh-huh.
student leader, because you are leading tech communities. Go for it and apply. Perhaps you could be approved to run that event, and then they fund your event. Okay, so so that's how people from the GitHub Copilot days is how people go to realize about the tool, the GitHub Copilot, and then the Copilot CLI. Okay, so it's from community that you get to learn things faster and get to know the latest and the trending technologies. Also, you get to find mentors and friends in community. I mean, I knew Soulmate because of community. I knew Ashish because of community. I've made lots of
Mm-hmm.
friends in Uganda and outside Uganda. So I've made a connection because of community. You get to build confidence. I'm right now sitting on this camera. I used to fear cameras so much. I used to tell people I'm camera shy, but community really got to make me actually get confidence, speak to people, feel
Mm-hmm.
confident about myself and what I actually know, and feel free to share knowledge with others. It also helps you to stay motivated, okay? When you get to a community event, you could be down suffering with bugs, you don't have a sense of belonging, there are lots of stress that you're actually getting to go through. But then when you get to a community event, you're going to find someone who is going to motivate you, and you see what people are actually getting to work on. And the most amazing thing from that's where that question comes in is it's from community that we get to discover the opportunities that come. You can get to
Uh-huh.
discover jobs, you can get to discover things, are the collaborations on projects. I've collaborated on multiple projects because I met people in communities. I've participated in
Mm-hmm.
hackathons. Last year, I really won very many hackathons here in Uganda. I got an
Uh-huh.
internship because of community. I've got scholarships to attend events because of community. I've gotten scholarships to attend conferences because of community. Then I have gotten into open source projects and programs because of community. So from that question, community is actually a big CV, and I've actually applied to
Mm-hmm.
something that ask you for your experience. And you find that you as a student, you've been in college, you've been in university, you do not have really the experience yet really in the real world, but community could be an experience because you get tell them, yes, I have not really been involved in this, but I have been participating in community. And people normally appreciate community because they say yes, if you have been in community, that means you have actually gotten to learn something, because community is the fastest way that people can actually get to learn lots of things. So community resumes are really actually very good to include community. Some communities nowadays even ask you for your LinkedIn profile because they're going to check in there, what have you been doing, working in community? Have you been participating? So community is really a strong resume. I have been to jobs. I have never used my transcript or my academic papers, but when I get tell them I'm participating in community and they say, okay, fine, what shows? I share with them the LinkedIn and it has been my resume, and they say, yes, it's true, you've been in community. That means you are contributing
Um,
something that is changing the community. Yes, so resumes, community is a big resume. Oh yes.
yes, that has a lot of impact on your resume. Okay,
Yes, it
so
does.
we have another question. This is a good one. So, for people who come out of freshman and sophomore, is it better to go deep in one strong community or to explore multiple other communities, as in on early stage? Let's just say we have someone who just wants to go into a community. What do you think is the
Mm.
best thing for him to do?
For a freshman,
Uh huh. Or sophomore. Mm-hmm.
yes. So I think for a freshman, right? That question is addressing them.
Uh
What
huh.
I would get to say is for a freshman, my opinion would be you do not really need to get to focus a lot on one community at the start, okay? Because tech is so broad. It is so broad. So when you're a freshman, when you're in your freshman year, always feel free to explore everything, because it's after you've explored whatever you can feel you need to explore that you'll get to find knowledge. And as time goes on, I think it just works out in an automatic way that
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, just as I said as well, in the beginning, you really want everything. But by the time you're finishing your year in the university or college, you are able to know exactly what best interests you. And you can know what best interests you by trying to give an exploration to them. And it is so amazing that you could, let's say an example, you started and you said you want to be into software development plainly from the first time you were a freshman. Okay, you are going to go through the university, you specify in software development, and then after you finish the university, you are going to get a job that is about cloud computing. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that means you have to learn again cloud computing. So you are going to definitely try to switch to a cloud computing side or an AI side of things. So I think as a freshman, it is very okay and it is very, very healthy for you to explore things as you're in the university. Towards the end, things will make sense and you will find your niche and what you're best comfortable with as time goes on. Yes, that's what I could say.
Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good one, actually. And we still have a few more questions from our audience. Okay, this one is, what is the one trait apart from being vocal and confident that one needs to pull off a good presence in a community? What do you think is
Okay, I
actually required for someone to be a part of, to lead a community, apart from being
okay.
good with his language and confidence?
Okay. I love that question. It's actually pretty
Mm-hmm.
much amazing. Um, what I would say is that, for you to properly, I think you can do that question again because I really want to answer it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Soulmate, you
So,
can do the question once again because I really want to answer it so well.
yes, so the person here really wants to know, what is actually more important? Is it just, the language, or is it just the communication and the confidence? Or do we need something else to pull off to be a leader of a community? What else is actually more
Okay,
required? Do we have anything
okay.
that meets the eye?
All right, I get, yeah, and I am going to really answer that out, I think, to the best of how I should do. For you to
Mm-hmm.
lead a community, you do not really need to be so good as we actually get to think, okay? You
Uh-huh.
can make a presence in community. What I would say is whatever community event you could get to, or any event on your campus or your tech community that you're leading, always try to leave a mark or a landmark or something that later when you leave, people will say, I know that person. They got to contribute this to this event. They got to contribute this to this event because you were just literally up and down. You were trying to ensure people sat at the right spot, people were orderly at an event, people were they were finding a comfortable time at the event. So, what I would say is that what really makes your presence is you just having the desire, the unwavering passion to share knowledge and to give a space to others, a space where they can get to contribute and learn from. That is all it takes for a community leader because all a leader does is a leader shows the way and then others follow. And so I would say also that before you become a leader, okay, always learn to follow, okay? Have someone that you could stick to. Um, Take an example. Before I became a GitHub Campus expert, I knew about I almost forgot to say this. I knew about the GitHub Campus Experts event from the very first community I attended. And then there was this GitHub
Oh.
Campus expert from Kenya, which is the neighboring country. He had been flying into Uganda for the Python Uganda event. And then he told me about it. And then later on, I got to know about a campus expert in my country. And so I had a
Uh-huh.
conversation with him, and then he kept mentoring me and kept telling me about how I could apply for GitHub Campus Expert, how I could actually get in. So, what I'm trying to bring in here is before you become a leader, you should always learn to follow. Okay, so it's after you have
Uh-huh.
learned to follow is when you become a leader. Because when you've followed someone, you have taken in their footsteps, you have known actually what they do. So your focus now is to make things better. So, for you to become a leader and create a presence, just always show up. Be there. Just be there. They're
Uh-huh.
having events, be there. Be at an event, make yourself visible. Let people know, yes, when you're missing at an event, people will be like, but where
Mm-hmm.
is this person? Normally do this. When these people are here, this place is organized. Small contributions like that is leadership. Leadership is not really something so big. It's just you showing up where you are actually needed and then you act in a way that solves the problem. So it is very much key on that. Then, of course, when you get to events, get to talk about it. I love LinkedIn so much. Every time I'm at an event, I say, guys, I attended this event. I ate good food. I learned this about this. I learned something small from this community event and get to talk about it. You're volunteering at an event, you're organizing an event, get to talk
Uh-huh.
about it and get people that you can actually get to learn from and connect with people. The connection you make with people tomorrow out there, they're going to speak out something in a room and they will be like, okay, fine, yes, there is this person and we highly recommend them. So for you to have a presence, you just need to be available. You need to show up always. That is it. Show up always. You because leadership is something that I could say that I also learned leadership skills from community. And how is really leadership? I learned it from community in a way that I learned how to communicate with people. Okay. I learned about how to do teamwork with people. So when you're doing into
Uh-huh.
teamwork, your presence really shows up so high. I learned things like public speaking from community, okay, beyond the classroom
Mm-hmm.
walls. So that's why I actually learned that. And then problem solving skills, you learn them from community. Perhaps there was a speaker that did not show up. I once hosted an event and the speaker did not show up,
Okay.
and I had to actually blend in, trying to solve each and
Ooh.
every problem at an event. Now, that's what exactly
Mm-hmm.
what leadership is. And that's what I would say. That's what creates a presence for a leader. Thank you.
No, that was a good answer. And then when you talked about LinkedIn, I just wanted to say that, I feel like LinkedIn is something that is, integrating all these communities together. Like you can expand your network, you can find new people, you can just showcase what you really are doing in this community. And I feel like leveraging LinkedIn to be a part of this communities is something that everybody should be doing. Don't you think?
Yes, yes, everything.
Mhm.
So I could maybe say LinkedIn is, I personally prefer LinkedIn because it looks professional. It's more of like a
Uh-huh.
professional site, but anyone would feel free to use any media channel, any social media. If you find it interesting to use X, if you find it interesting, X, which is Twitter, if you find it interesting to use Facebook, you want to use Facebook, you want to use Instagram, you want to use TikTok. I have seen communities that are running their events, they're doing their things on Instagram, on TikTok. It is pretty much fine. The end game of the thing is just trying to share with people what you're trying to do. But it's good. Why I love
Uh-huh.
LinkedIn is because it tries to, the algorithm tries to normally, should I say, feature in people with like minds, like-minded people,
Exactly. Uh-huh.
like-minded peers, like-minded groups of people, try to connect them together. So that's why I
Yeah.
really much recommend LinkedIn. But all the others are actually very pretty much fine. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we have another question. What are some opportunities
Oh
that are
yes.
open to community leaders? Like, where can we actually apply? We can get support for communities. How do we even find these
Okay.
opportunities is the actual question. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I shared a lot about. Let me hope the person who's asking the question was listening when I was sharing a lot about the communities I've participated in. It started by
Uh-huh.
leading in a community. Okay, so these opportunities come in when you lead a community. I started by leading my tech community on my campus, okay, which is Utamo Innovation Club. So
Mm-hmm.
when you lead that community, there is later when you get to apply for things. Now, GitHub Campus Experts program is what I'm going to actually look for. GitHub Campus Expert does not just look for technical students, students who know how to use GitHub, students who know how to program really so well. No, they look for community leaders. And actually, so they look for people who are leading student initiatives on their campus, trying to create a space and to bridge the gap between the global opportunities and the students in their local tech community. So there are many community opportunities for leaders, okay? First of those are ambassador programs. There is the Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador Program. Okay, I am partially
Uh-huh.
way to Microsoft. Okay, there is that. Then I think in India there are lots of Google ambassadors. There are Gemini ambassadors. Okay,
Uh-huh.
there AWS Student Builder groups. Okay, and I think that is still open right now. I do not know if you applied Soulmate. Did you apply for it?
Oh, I was
AWS
about to
Student.
apply it. Not yet, but I'm definitely gonna apply it. Uh-huh.
Yes, you need to actually get to apply for that. And when you
Mm-hmm.
apply, you just need to, as you apply for it, you just need to tell
Uh-huh.
them. Perhaps you would put my name down there in the recommendation because I am part of
Oh,
them.
sure. Why not? Definitely.
Yes. So there
Mm-hmm.
is the AWS community. There is the AWS community. There are other many ambassador roles. There is the CASA ambassador. Okay. There is even
Mm-hmm.
Canva. You've used Canva.
Uh-huh. We use it over here. We use it.
Okay. So I think this is getting more interesting. I'm going to relate it to
Mm-hmm.
my friends. I do
Uh-huh.
you use Kahoot? Do you use Kahoot?
Oh, I used to use it back when I was in school. So we used to
Okay.
have one of our professors. So what he used to do is he used to set up a
Oh
quiz
yes.
in the Kahoot
Yes.
and ask all the students to join and be a part of it. And then we used to play it in the classroom. It used to be a lot of fun.
Very
I
good.
do. We
Very
used to
good.
do it. Mm-hmm.
Very good. I have my friend. Now I'm going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about really. Now I'm going to give this with real world examples. Okay, communities beyond. Now
Uh-huh.
for me, I'm into GitHub. I'm into Zindi. I'm into AWS. I'm into Aspire. I'm into Futurize and my local tech community. Okay. Now
Uh-huh.
I am also an ambassador for a blockchain called Stellar, but I don't really contribute a lot to blockchain lately. So I am going to talk
Uh-huh.
about really these opportunities for leaders. There is something, even Kahoot ambassadors. Actually, my friend is the Kahoot ambassador in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. He is the only Kahoot ambassador.
Oh.
He is as well a Notion ambassador. Have people here used Notion, the activity tool?
Oh. We in India use Notion a lot, to make our notes and stuff
Definitely.
like that. Trust me, I use it.
Ah,
It's a
very good.
saver for me. It's a
Very
lifesaver for sure.
amazing. I have
Mm-hmm.
about three friends in Uganda who are Notion ambassadors, okay? Notion ambassadors. So that's
Ooh.
another opportunity for students. So you just need to keep an eye open when they call out for people to apply, you get to apply. Recently, I saw even Copilot was calling for ambassadors, okay? Copilot,
Uh-huh.
Notion, there is Kahoot. Then the Canva ambassador for Uganda is actually as well my friend. Okay. So these are opportunities for
Uh-huh.
community leaders and students. All these people I'm talking about are students in their first year, in the year one, in the year two, in the university, and others in their third year. There is that. Then there is generative AI also has ambassadors. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
there is generative AI. There is Kiro. Have you used Kiro before?
Oh,
The
the
coding
Chinese model,
tool.
right? Yes. The API
Oh
router
yes,
that gives you API keys with multiple models.
very very good,
Yes,
very
yes.
good,
I
very
did
good. There
use
is
that.
Kiro, very
Uh-huh.
good. There is Hero, there is Casa, there is Casa also needs ambassadors. There is
Uh-huh.
which other? There is now when you go into blockchains, I think every blockchain there is still there's a blockchain called Logos, there's a blockchain called Bears, there's a blockchain called Celo. So these communities are mainly looking for people who can
Uh-huh.
better up these events. Like just as I said, I think every community leader, I think you would go and try to check on plain site or and try to apply for to host a GitHub Copilot Dev Days in your city,
Uh-huh.
perhaps. Okay, give it a try. When you approve, they fund your event, and the event actually gets to run. So you can take that as the start. So, but there are lots of opportunities and ambassador roles for these communities, community leaders, because these most of these
Mm-hmm.
technologies and companies want to extend the services closer to people, and the best way to extend this is through communities, so that people can share these in knowledges that people in their community can better understand. Okay. Yes, so there
Uh-huh.
are lots of vast opportunities that are really anthropoic, which is I think Cloud. Even Claude has an ambassador
Mm-hmm.
in Uganda here,
Uh-huh.
and oh my God, there are many ambassador roles.
We have a lot of
Very
opportunities.
possible. It's very possible. I think soon even StreamYard is going to actually ask for ambassadors. I am very sure. And Soulmate, I think you need to
I know,
apply for
right?
StreamYard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No, we have a lot of opportunities. We just have to explore them. We just have to find new opportunities.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of opportunities out there.
Out
Yes, a
there.
lot of them.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
We also have another question.
Oh
What
yes.
skills do you believe are currently undervalued by students but are highly valued by the industry?
Okay, that is really so amazing. I think the skill that is undervalued by students that is valued by the industries is the problem solving skill. All right.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Most of the times when you are starting a company, and I think that is one reason why startups have really failed so much, is
Mm-hmm.
people want to build solutions. Take an example. I just want to build a software that does this, but people have not considered the problem solving part of it. Because most of the times when I'm going to build a system, take an example, I want to build a software that could help me maybe get to, let me say, okay, let's say maybe I want to build a software that is solving what problem? What problems do you have in India? Because in Uganda we have many, many problems and we keep trying to solve them. I don't know. Let's use with an example from India. Do you have any problem that you're looking into solving that software could get to solve?
Okay, the problems in India, man, if you ask me, we have a lot of problems.
I know,
But
I
the
know, I
thing,
know.
people keep looking into new things, finding ways to, try to automate things and, try to solve these problems.
Yes, yes,
But then I
true.
feel like it really depends on the people that you're really thinking about because, let's just say, as a student, what are my problems? I feel like, everything that you study at your university, I think that is not something it's going to add a lot of value to your career because whatever you want to do in your career, it's purely based on what you want to learn and the skills that you want to possess. But then in your universities, all they teach is, they give you some subjects and ask you to learn them. And I feel like this is something, a problem we should, actually look into how we can, change these kind of things so that people can actually, start learning these kind of skills in their university so that if they want to, go out and work in real world, they'll be able to do these kind of things. And I feel like, I mean, if we keep looking into those, we find a lot of problems. Yeah, we do have
Hmm.
them.
Okay. I feel it seems like you are like Uganda. We also have problems that never end, okay? And they keep
Mm-hmm.
running in and showing up every time. So I will give just with an example. Let's take an example. Let's use Uber, okay? I
Uh-huh.
know that when they were building Uber, okay, we are taking to the
Mm-hmm.
back track of how things were. So, like the way Uber gets to come up, you get to look and identify a problem, and then you say, what is it that people, a challenge that people are actually getting to face right now? People are finding it hard to move from one place. Mobility is becoming an issue. What about we come with a system called Uber that could get to link up people? You just need to automate the way in which people need to make orders of their transportation and they get to another place, okay? So
Uh-huh.
that is, so you're focusing on solving a problem, not just building a software. Meanwhile, there's someone who'll
Mm-hmm.
say, I want to build a software where people would just come in, check any disease,
Mm-hmm.
like a software that does not really have that. So what really the students are undervaluing is the problem solving skill. I recently was in
Uh-huh.
charge of students at where I actually get to contribute art. I was the one in charge of interns. Okay, so students were
Mm-hmm.
applying for internships, and I remember most students just want to do the internship. They want to just come and do. They want to just code. But what the
Mm-hmm.
company focuses on is we want you to be able to solve a problem. We do not want you to just come and code. We want you to think beyond. If we are going to think about this, you could be having an idea that would actually get to solve that. So it's something that students are actually undervaluing. Many of them are focusing on getting the technical skill, but they are missing out on the problem
The problem
solving
thinking.
skill. That is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that students undervalue. The second one I think that also students undervalue is the tech is not really, most especially like I think in the context of where I come from, it is very key
Uh-huh.
to have other skills beyond that, okay? So one is
Mm-hmm.
definitely not going to really, you do not really have to just have the technical skill, okay? You need to have the leadership skill in you. You need to have a good communication skill because how are you going to communicate with people in the company? Then you need to have a
Uh-huh.
teamwork spirit because if you're working in a software company, you're going to work with people. People are going, someone is working in the back end, someone is dealing with the database, you're working in the front end, someone's dealing with the
Mm-hmm.
APIs. So you really need to have this the teamwork skill, okay? to easily
Uh-huh.
and to be accountable, the accountability of things. Can you account for what you're actually contributing to in that company? Can you confidently actually contribute? So students are really undervaluing the problem solving skill, the communication, then teamwork, then the bit of leadership, because most of the times the tech students believe I just need to code, but it goes beyond that. Because I mean, every company needs someone who is going to be a leader, even when the team lead is not there. Are you going to step in the gap? Yes. So that's what I could say.
Uh-huh. I see. All right then. So one last question because we've been taking a lot of questions about communities.
It
So,
is all.
what is that one thing you want to say to someone who wants to be a part of community?
If there is one thing I will say to someone who wants to be part of community is, in your tech journey, joining a tech community is going to be the best decision you actually ever made. Because when you join a community, you are going to find identity, you're going to find a sense of belonging, okay? You are going to find mentors, you're going to find friends in community. When I'm talking of friends, I'm talking of resourceful friends. The first time I go to a community event, I was just at that community event and I joined community with friends, okay? And then the next time we went to another
Mm-hmm.
event, I saw one of my own friends speaking at an event. And I was like, wow, I need to get serious. And so I worked out
Uh-huh.
on myself of speaking also, because my goal was, can I also speak at an event? So if I was not in community, I want to believe I would have not achieved really what I've actually gotten to achieve. I would have not gotten an exposure. I would have not gotten a visibility outside there. But so being part of community is the best decision you can make, because you can sit in the classroom, but there are things that you will not learn beyond the classroom walls. So it is community that gives you a taste of what the real world is. Yes, so join community, join any closest community to you. Feel free to explore any
Mm-hmm.
community. Feel free to eat food at communities. Feel free to go with the swag, to go with the sticker from community. It is really going to benefit you. And trust me, you are never going to regret that opportunity. Yes, that's, I think, the last word
Mm-hmm.
I could say about communities. And always apply. Try to
Mm-hmm.
apply to be at conferences. To this, please always feel free to apply to these, to leadership opportunities. You never know. And I think I forgot to
Mm-hmm.
say out that also as well. I forgot to talk about this bad side of my story. There's a time I used to really
Uh-huh.
apply to be ambassador roles, be this, and I used to get rejection mails. There's a day, I think in a span of about 2 days, I got over four rejection mails, okay? But I kept showing up. So in case you're there and then you've applied and all that, please, I want you to know that there's a day that you're going to actually have a brighter day. Just keep consistent.
Uh-huh.
Rejection mails are actually not showing that you're incompetent or rejected, but they're just feedback to help you fine tune how you could better out something the next time you apply. Yes, so kudos to community. I love community and I'm so much honored to be here. Thank you so much, Soulmate. Thank you so much also for Mr. Ashish, who's a GitHub Campus expert. Thank you as well for the opportunity of being part of this session. I'm really so glad I was really part of this. Yes. Please, I think as you post also on LinkedIn being part of this event, please make sure to tag me.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna repost. My community will repost. I'm gonna tell my friends I was in India today. It's really so amazing to
Mm-hmm.
be here.
Thank you, Avono. The pleasure was ours for having you here. Your experience with all these communities, it was insightful, man. Sharing it with our audience and all these young people who want to be a part of community, your insights are gonna help them a long way in their life. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then we'd also like to thank our sponsors BitGo, GitHub, and .xyz for sponsoring this local hack week. And with that being said, let's conclude this session, man. Of Wano, thank you for joining us all the way from Uganda. You did this for
It
us.
is
Thank you
well.
so much. We
It is
wish you
well. Have
have.
a good night from Uganda.
Thank you so much, Avono. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye bye.